Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to Nerd Side Tamps. We're just enjoying our Fiddle Faddle because unfortunately Fiddle Faddle is the only thing we get to enjoy when it's Daredevil time at Nerd Champs nowadays. That is our one and only silver lining.
No joy.
Is varied. Yeah, watch out.
We get no joy. We are not allowed to have fun in life anymore for the next month. It's terrible.
Yeah. We are living in Mudville, folks. Mighty Casey has struck out. and all we have is our Erzatz Cracker Jack. We have our Fiddle Faddle to keep us warm. So, yeah. We actually did watch episode 4 of this abomination. Before we get into the comments in the queue, Tim, did you have any overarching observations that we should like address before we just dive into what's in the queue here?
This episode was so absurd. It was so absurd. Look, there are two of us on this panel for a reason, guys. There are two of us on this channel for a reason, and it's because Dan and I balance each other out. Dan often, has the quick fuse of hatred, and I usually kind of slow burn and give every opportunity before I'm fully on board with the hatred. It's one of those things that we kind of balance each other out very well, but generally Dan and I are in lockstep once we've seen these things to completion. We're not, there are very, very few projects where we'll watch and he'll be like, I absolutely loved that. And I'll be like, oh, well, that was terrible, or vice versa.
Right.
So, as we get through these episodes, the thing that just stands out to me about episode 4 is just that the whole premise is just so absurd. So last week we saw Fisk, and he was doing some boxing training, and silly me, I thought that's just because Fisk was a martial artist and that was just his physical regiment. You know what I mean? I thought to myself, okay, they're giving Kingpin his flowers, because it is well known within the Marvel universe that there are very, very few that are ever going to be able to keep up with the Kingpin when it comes to a physical fight. When it comes to hand-to-hand combat, he is unmatched. Okay, and so they were doing a little bit of their. I thought they were doing a little bit of their flowers there, giving him his due, but that's not what they were doing. Apparently, the Kingpin was training for an exhibition boxing match against the heavyweight champion of the world for some reason, because that's what the mayor of New York does, right, Dan? I mean, we all are looking forward to Zoran Mamdani's fight against, Floyd Mayweather or something, right? I mean, or Paul or somebody, right? Like, isn't that what's going to happen? I mean, it's completely absurd. It's completely absurd to think that this is something that would actually take place in real life, that somebody would actually think that it's a good idea to have an exhibition boxing match, first of all, against the heavyweight champion of the world, and second of all, against somebody who is clearly unhinged like Fisk. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so that I just can't get over that. I can't get over that was an actual thing that took place in this series. Like, did they mention that before this episode, Dan? Now, I know that you said that you've been kind of drifting in and out of attention. I think I have as well. Yeah. I don't know that they've actually mentioned that was a thing that was going to take place before this episode. Did they?
I think there may have been posters like in the background throughout the city. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like the poster that we saw, I think I had saw that poster. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that he was training, but that was it. I will say my wife is still suffering through this show with me for reasons that I don't know. She loves me, I guess, and doesn't want me to be alone in this misery. And honest to God, even with the BB segment, the masked Fisk, which please, could we just stop having those? We know who she is now. The mystery is dead. Do we still need? But anyway, we needed to have it because this episode, it was an info dump that let you know this fight was going to happen later. And even though we got that info dump, when the boxing match started, I swear to God, my wife turned to me and said, "Wait, what's going on? Why is there a boxing match now?" That's a quote.
It's like, completely absurd. It's completely absurd. It's the big. I have no idea what they were thinking when they decided that this was going to be a thing. And it's so funny because boxing is such a big part of the Daredevil story anyway, that trying to kind of shoehorn this into this season just kind of feels like it's just leftover scraps. And I don't know what they're thinking with this. This was one of those situations where the character of Fisk that they've set up over the last several years has not been the character that ever would have done anything like this in public, like ever. He never would have been the dancing bear. He never would have gone out there and done it. I mean, none of that. He never would have been a dog and pony show for people. That's not what he does. He's not that guy. And to be fair, no. I think what they're doing is they're kind of taking different versions of Fisk from the comics and media and trying to kind of merge them all into one instead of just running with the very popular character that Vincent D'Onofrio put out there in the first place. They tried this lame, stupid thing in what's it called? In Hawkeye, where he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and he had this flea bag office and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, that's comic accurate, but that is nothing like the Kingpin that we saw previously. And now they've completely turned back to him being the city billionaire, but the high-end city elite billionaire. But now they've kind of even changed direction more, and he's the mayor and he likes to be in the public eye, and he likes, a lot of this just doesn't make sense. It's like it's not the same Fisk episode to episode. It's a completely different version from somewhere in the comics or some deep pull somewhere. You've got a very, very popular rendition that you needed to just stick with because it would have been a better story than all of this. It would have been a better story than any of this. So I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
I have various thoughts. I'm going to jump into the comments. I'm going to see where they lead me. And if I have thoughts that we don't touch on by the time we make it through, I'll throw them out there. My key takeaway, the thing I really want to say, and I want you all to know, is I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I really, 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 really hate it. That's what I want everybody to know. And with that, we're going to see what Flash Ain't Fast has to say. The opening diner fight scene needs to be played at 3 times normal speed with the Benny Hill theme song playing in the background. Yakety sax, folks. If you want to look it up on Spotify.
I just got a great idea for a short, Dan. There you go, right there.
Yeah. I did try to keep notes. Now, this is a reminder. I tried to keep notes for this episode. I got so frustrated about halfway through, I stopped. But I do remember the first thing I wrote down was, screw this show. It's going to make me have a negative association with Billy Joel and New York State of Mind now. I really like Billy Joel. I really like that song. And now when that song plays, I got to think of this ridiculous Bullseye story.
Yeah. And I think that scene in particular was one that, it was, I get what they're going for, where he's kind of waging war against Fisk and his little minions. I think that's an interesting story, but it isn't really a necessary story. Bullseye has been the character from the very beginning of last season that I just thought made this way too overcrowded. They needed to just pull back on Bullseye, not make that a big thing. They could have done this Fisk story and kind of left a lot of the other stuff out and maybe done something a little bit better and deeper with Fisk instead of having all this other convoluted stuff. It really has made it so that you don't really know where the main focus of the story is. And I think that's the main problem. So right now, like, this Bullseye stuff is just noise to me. And now you've got a situation where it's like, now are they allying them? Are they going to ally themselves with Bullseye? That just doesn't make sense, you know? And, and so I feel like, this is, and like we've mentioned several times, this isn't really the Bullseye that we wanted. That's part of the reason that I think a lot of people didn't like season 3 of Daredevil and the Netflix series, is this wasn't the Bullseye that we wanted. And so what are we going to do? We're going to keep this same guy, and we're going to keep the same character, and we're going to kind of try to make it so that it's kind of him versus the world. This isn't the Bullseye series. This is the Daredevil series. You've got to kind of pull back on that a little bit and actually do something interesting. So I don't know. This Bullseye story is something I'm kind of over. I'm kind of over all these stories, but yeah, this is one of the biggest kinks in the story, is that they focus so much on Bullseye in the series, I think.
When he killed the guy by shooting a toothpick through a straw.
Yeah.
That is just the height of stupid.
That's like the tooth from last season. It's like, I understand that these are things that take place in the comics, and those are problems that I have with the comics as well, just so everybody is very clear here. But physics doesn't work that way. and so it doesn't matter how hard and accurate you spit a tooth, it's never going to be at a lethal level, right? And it's the same thing with the toothpick, okay? Like, you can blow that little toothpick as hard as you possibly can, and it is never and as accurate as you possibly can. And, it would make more sense for him to like poke a guy's eye out with it or something, to temporarily distract a guy instead of like kill a guy with it. That doesn't make any sense. And when you start defying the obvious rules of physics in a grounded series, that's when I start kind of getting like, this isn't what we need to be. This isn't what we need to be doing with this character. So I understand. I can suspend reality with the best of them. This is a superhero show. I get it. But these are basic physics concepts that we're bending that make no sense. So yes, I agree with you 1,000%, Dan. That was absurd. It was ridiculous.
If you don't want to take Tim's word for it, and you're out there, you probably have access to toothpicks in straws. Conduct your own experiments, folks. I will not even give you the disclaimer of don't try this at home. Please do. Try it at home as often as you want. You won't hurt your cat. You won't hurt your dog. You won't damage your walls. Shoot that toothpick out as hard as you can. You will harm nothing. I guarantee it.
Like, this is one of those things back in the day, the Mythbusters would have actually like tried to find out what velocity do you need to like, and they would have hooked up like a CO2 tank or something. And it was like a commercial grade CO2 tank. And they would have been like, yeah, nobody can blow that hard. So I just feel like this is, that's when it doesn't even pass the giggle test for reality. We need to just all agree that's not a good thing for the show. But that's the kind of thing, if you're going to have Bullseye, you got to have something that kind of sticks out. And that's why I don't think Bullseye was really the right character for the show at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. And Thug Ain't Fast says, I feel like the concept of a politician doing a full go boxing match against the current heavyweight champ is reached. But for a recluse like Fisk, it makes the believability exponentially worse.
Yeah. You just can't. I mean, Fisk, the character of Fisk that they introduced us to at the beginning of the Daredevil series in what was it, 2011 or 12, something like that.
Yeah.
He never would have done this.
Yeah.
He never would have done. This is the guy that he never even left his penthouse. You know what I mean? Like he never left his penthouse. Even to conduct business or whatever, he had his little dude do it. You know what I mean? Wesley or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
This isn't even the same character anymore. They're trying to introduce a new version of the character. It's just so silly. It's so silly.
The version that they started with is very accurate to the early comic Kingpin. The Kingpin was a criminal mastermind, plotter, schemer, boss. Yes, he was physically very imposing. Yes, he was exceptionally strong. He could fight even super powered opponents. But in the comics, and they carried this on for years, whenever he actually fought, it was like a surprise. It wasn't. He usually hired mercenaries like Bullseye or Elektra or others to do his dirty work for him. He was rarely a hands-on fighter. Like, he tormented Daredevil for years, and they never fought. That wasn't what it was about. He was the mastermind. They finally fought, and he really thumped Daredevil pretty good. And they kind of they set it up that way in the show. Like you wouldn't even know that he was this physically imposing guy until he smashed a man's head in a car door. And then you were like, oh, wow. And that was the reaction you got in the comics when Kingpin finally started fighting people. And now he's having exhibition boxing matches. I don't even.
Absurd. It's so absurd. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It's so absurd.
Yeah. My pants are wet. Wants us to know that if Vanessa doesn't die, he officially quits. This is Sabine with the lightsaber and Glenn with the dumpster all over again. So where are we setting the odds? I mean, do we think Vanessa is actually dead, Tim?
There are some really, really important implications here. First and foremost, if she doesn't die, it means one of two things. It either means that Bullseye missed. I want you to think about that. It means that Bullseye missed, or it means that Bullseye did not want to kill her. So you try to tell me it's one of those two things. Which one sounds less stupid? And go with the other one, because that's probably what they're going to do. Because I think both of those are terrible. All right. Bullseye missing would be that's not what happens. Bullseye doesn't miss. so
I mean, the nonsense was flying so fast.
Yeah.
Bullseye throws the glass Fisk statue directly at Fisk. Yeah, he throws it right at Wilson, right at Fisk. He smashes it with the heavyweight championship belt because, of course, the mayor of New York is now the heavyweight champion of the world. So it's headed towards him, not at the velocity he intended because he got shot as he was throwing it, right? Because Fisk shot him.
He did get shot. This is correct. Yeah.
Fisk smashes it with the belt,
which I think he planned on.
I guess it was. What's that?
I think Bullseye would have planned on that, but okay. I forgot about it. I forgot about him being shot. That probably threw a wrench into the whole thing.
So now it's kind of like, I guess the guilt is supposed to ride on Kingpin that he smashed the thing, and then the shrapnel hit her. I don't know.
Right in the temple, though.
Yeah.
Right in the temple. I mean, and then the blood just starts gushing. I mean, first of all, I don't know how many episodes Vanessa has been in of Born Again so far, I can tell you that she is in 12 episodes because I just looked up IMDb. So of the 18 episodes, she's in 12. Okay. So that would imply to me that she's in at least one or two more. Is that because she's in the hospital? Is that because I don't know? So anyway, so we'll just have to see. But I don't know. This is one of those situations. It is one of those situations at the ending credit. You're just like, there's no way. There's no way that anyone would survive that. I don't know.
On one hand, I don't like the idea of not having a Vanessa because the Kingpin, his grounding thing is his love for Vanessa. It's like, it's important to the character of the Kingpin. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I'm really excited to not have this Vanessa because one of the worst scenes in an episode full of terrible scenes. There were no good scenes in this whole episode, but one of the worst ones, and I've already talked about this on earlier episodes, but the Vanessa with the governor scene, that felt almost exactly like the McDuffie and Mother Coral scene yeah, it's just okay. We need to have a scene with two female characters talking to each other and no guy there. So let's contrive some. Listen, Tim is very famous for his no girls stance and his superhero thing. He, like when the girls get
He-Man woman haters. That's right.
Yeah, but I am not that guy. I enjoyed not almost all, but like a large portion of Agatha all along. I was right there with it and I enjoyed it. I can watch two female characters talk to each other. It doesn't bother me. But when you're doing plot gymnastic backflips to try to make this happen, and I'm watching a whole long scene that I'm like, why is this even in the show? And I'm like, oh, wait, I know why it's in the show, so that two female characters could talk to each other. And then it was also there because at the time I was like wondering, okay, I know outside of universe, they want the governor to tell Vanessa she's awesome because they want us to think Vanessa is awesome and that Kingpin is not. I get that. That's the only way Marvel writers know how to lift somebody up now is to push somebody down. So this is just yet another scene after so many of the last season where we learned that Vanessa is a way better crime boss and mover and shaker than Fisk is. That's basically. And then also having finished the episode, we realized that part of that scene was to establish how, immensely wonderful Vanessa is. So it hits harder when they kill her.
That's right.
But okay, all of those outside universe things are very apparent. And as you watch it, you're realizing them and you know them, and that hits you like a ton of bricks. There are no in-universe explanations for why the governor would be so, hyped about Vanessa and think she's so awesome. You know what I'm saying? They're just because they tell you so. These writers are so lazy.
And the tension in that scene is one that you could cut with a knife. It's like these are people that respect each other, but also don't like each other very much, have to kind of learn to get along. I don't know. I've like and Dan talks about my no girls policy a lot. It's a fallacy. I love having girls in my superhero shows, but I do think that the lengths to which Marvel and Disney have gone to try to push the idea on us that there are characters that nobody knows that we have to embrace. I told you I looked up the IMDb's and I looked at it, and it's number one in episodes for this series run is Charlie Cox, obviously. Number 2 is Vincent D'Onofrio, obviously. Number 3 is the girl that plays BB. Why? Why is that girl in more episodes than Deborah Ann Wool, for example? Or why is that girl in more episodes than Buck? Or why is that girl in more episodes than Bullseye? These are things that just don't make sense. So I see that girl as the number 3, and then slightly below her, one step below her, is the girl that plays Heather. This just makes no sense, right? Like, at some point, who are the stars of this show? Who are the people that we should be focused on? You already killed one of the main characters of the comic book in the first episode of this new run. And now you're wanting me to embrace this whole litany of other characters. It's just not something that you can't really ask people that are your legacy fans of the comic to embrace all these new characters and be okay with it. And the girl that played McDuffie, she's up towards the top as well. So, so we've introduced all these new characters, and yes, all of them happen to be strong, independent women. And I have no problem with strong, independent women, but when that's all that I have under Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio for a good portion of time there, it lets me know that there's an agenda to try to get all of those characters in as many episodes as possible. And that doesn't make sense for the story. And it's like you're talking about, Dan. So why? Why are we having this conversation between these characters? Because we have to. We have to in order to get them the screen time so they can get that extra episode on their credit. It's silly.
Yeah, it's just Johnson. Daredevil versus Bullseye was a great fight. This is the first psychotic glimpse we have had for Bullseye. I don't know. I don't know.
It was that psychotic. Like,
I was. Go ahead.
Who do you think of when you think of psychotic, Dan? Like, when you think of a psychotic bad guy, like, who's the first guy that like jumps to your mind? Like, for Joker. Me, it's like, you're talking about like the Jack Nicholson Joker, right? Like, like, hey man, or you're talking about Nick Cage in Face Off. Hey, that's psychotic bad guy to me, right? Like, when and that's kind of the vibe I would get from someone like Bullseye. I would have loved a Nick Cage Bullseye. That would have been great. Yeah. Okay. I would have signed up for it and said they nailed it. Boom. This guy is too clean. He's too average. He is too quiet. He's not even on the same timbre, not even in the same galaxy of Psychosis to be the character. It doesn't make any sense to me. This is and this isn't the first time they did this in the Netflix shows either. They did the same thing with Russo in Punisher. I always thought that Russo was kind of like a psychotic mobster
character,
and they never really nailed that either. Russo was very clean and he was very normal and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a trend that they have with these guys in the net from that have bled over from the Netflix shows. I just don't think this is this is the one thing. And when you have a show like this, you had the blank slate where you could have just said, let's do it right. If we're going to do Bullseye, let's do it right. But they didn't. And now we've got the same Bullseye, and he just doesn't fit. He just doesn't fit the character. Yeah, he did do the thing where he went up and grabbed the old lady and put the gun to her head. Okay. That's not quite psychotic. That's just a guy at the end of his rope. Desperate. So, but I did think the fight was pretty decent. I think the fight scenes are much better this season than last season. It's one of the few things I can actually say that's better. But yeah, I don't know. Bullseye is just one of those characters. I'm just not going to be happy with it no matter what. I don't think. I just think this guy just doesn't nail it for me. I don't know.
I couldn't decide with the opening of the episode when he's frying eggs and talking to the neighbors and giving money to the homeless guy and then sitting down at the restaurant. I made a note. I said, what am I supposed to be feeling about Bullseye right now?
It's like
what are they trying to convey?
That's like the Thomas Jane Punisher. It's the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you've created Bullseye as the Thomas Jane Punisher.
Is he supposed to be honestly like a turned over new leaf good guy? Am I supposed to be getting vibes of Quiet Menace? Like, like he's unhinged, like he's doing this, like okay, for example, he's making breakfast in the morning and being really friendly, but that could very much be like a Dexter, like the opening of Dexter play. You know what I'm saying? You watch the opening credits of Dexter, but like he I can't remember the guy who plays Dexter. Like you could feel the menace, you can feel the insanity of Dexter. Like it's in his eyes, it's in his expression. Like he's faking being a person. And you can feel the menace in Dexter when he's doing that. And with this, I'm just like, am I supposed to be getting that? Am I not supposed to be getting that? I really had no idea what the show was trying to signal to me. I just couldn't wrap my arms around it. And in the fight scene, I'll be totally honest, the choreography was probably okay, but by that point in the episode, I was really struggling to pay attention. I didn't care who won the fight. Honestly, if he'd have put a knife through Daredevil's eye, I would have been like, okay, so the show's over now. Good. So, and then the other thing that my key takeaway from that whole scene is that Bullseye yelled out "one good deed," and the way he delivered that line and the way that Daredevil froze and the way everybody reacted, it felt so much like a callback that I thought I was going senile. I'm trying to remember the episode or the time, or did I miss that in the previously on where they had a conversation where, Daredevil told him you could turn it all around with one good deed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you understand? Am I crazy, or was that delivered as if it was a callback?
It was, yeah. It's kind of funny. Those kind of lines are not. It's not something that you just kind of come up with. Like, those are the things you have to have planted some kind of a seed for in order for the audience to be like, to do the Leo DiCaprio and be like, oh, he said the thing, right? But but right now, yeah, that's the thing. We haven't really had that planted yet. So I'm with you.
Why did it give Daredevil pause? When he yelled "one good deed," why did Daredevil say, "I have a goldfish"? What I'm saying? Okay, I thought we were talking about stuff that didn't matter, right?
Wait a second.
It just,
oh, man. So and
again, I got to get into it now because I'm halfway into it. This show moves so slow. And it takes so much time. And yet it plants no seeds and sets up nothing. You would think in a show that moves so slow, they could plant the seeds for him to say one good deed and it reverberate with something that has already been set up.
I'm wondering, I'm wondering if now that we're in the era of AI, we know that AI has been doing a lot of writing for the last several years. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's where the quality is really, really taking a dive, is because Disney has just outsourced a lot of this stuff to AI and just say, okay, let's let AI come up with this framework, and then we'll go ahead and fill in the gaps where we need to. And the finished product we can get out there in a fraction of the time. Well, when you do that, I think that this is kind of what you end up with. You end up with a lot of storylines that just don't make sense. The characters don't make sense. The lines are delivered in ways that don't make sense. And ultimately, it's like you said, we've got kind of a drudging along show that the pacing is better than last season, but it would have to be, right? So, I mean, I'm just thinking to myself that that's the only thing I can come up with for why some of the decisions are being made that are being made is because AI is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the skeleton of the plot. That's the only thing that I can figure. And I don't know. I feel like before when we were about 15 years ago, when we didn't have that as a crutch, I think the creativity and the quality of the writers really had to come to the forefront. You had to put people in a room and say, don't come out until you've got something great. And I think that's the difference between then and now. And I think we can feel it in every aspect of media now. This is how companies like Disney are trying to take shortcuts.
Yeah, this one feels like they locked monkeys in a room with typewriters.
Yeah.
It just, and not enough monkeys to get Shakespeare, like they say. They locked like 4 monkeys in a room for 10 hours, and then just ran with whatever came out. And yeah,
oh, Dan, the banana milkshake. What? Now it all makes sense. The banana milkshake.
There we go. That was the monkeys telling us.
It was the monkeys.
Yeah. They wanted bananas. They worked it into the script. I Am the Night said, did the boxer guy die? I feel like maybe. Do you think he's dead, Tim? I don't know.
There are very few that are going to take a hit like that from the Kingpin and live. But I don't think that he's going to die. And the reason I don't think he's going to die is because I think Vanessa is going to die. And I don't think that's going to be, that both of them are going to die. So anyway.
I was really, as mad as I was going to be even more mad because at the point at which the Kingpin knocks the guy out, the camera slowed.
You embarrassed me in front of Vanessa. It was the classic thing. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. But the camera slowed and the crowd got quiet. And I swear to God, I thought we were having a Falcon and Winter Soldier moment. I thought that this was going to be U.S. Agent all over again. And that people, for some reason, didn't come to a boxing match to see somebody got knocked out. And all of a sudden, this was going to be the point where everybody realized how horrific Kingpin was. And I'm like,
yeah. Or how like absolutely... Or how absolutely barbaric boxing is. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like BB went and sat in the front row of a boxing match and was like, he knocked that guy out. Like, oh my goodness. I'm like, that's what happens at a boxing match, BB. Like, guys get hit in the face,
Yeah.
So
I love that boxing still exists in the era of CTE. Let me just tell you, I do love that.
Yeah, it is great.
The absolute goal of boxing is to give your opponent a concussion. That's the set thing. I'm going to give you a concussion. So I really like that. Anyway, Santa P4R says episode 4 was a little silly. I just thought it was bad on Fisk's look as mayor. Yeah, the mayor in his wife beater shirt out there in a boxing ring is not a strong look.
This is why he never should, like, reasons like this are why he never should have been mayor. Okay, because then you wouldn't have had to do absolutely ridiculous episodes like this. So all right, keep going, Dan.
Send said, did we like the cliffhanger?
We talked about it. I hope she's dead. I really do. And if she's not, yes, it will be Sabine Wren all over again. It will be like, what? Hold on, wait, what? She survived that? How? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I feel like, she needs to be dead. Oh, Santa. Now I was given an assignment. He said the Punisher trailer today honestly looks so good. I'm glad John Bernthal got full control over it. Tim, I will be honest. I was so flustered watching this episode of Daredevil that I did not remember to watch the Punisher trailer. So you guys have to catch me up. Does it honestly look great?
I will say this. I will say the one thing about it is it looks pretty generic. They didn't go into a lot of detail of the story. There were a lot of explosions, a lot of dead bodies, a lot of violence. So those are things that we saw for sure. They didn't really go into a lot of the details of what was going to be the main conflict or who was going to be the main villain or any of that kind of stuff. It was very generic. It did say, and he is correct, that it did say that not only was John Bernthal going to be the executive producer, but he did write it as well. That is something I was unaware of before the trailer. So that's awesome. That I think that they're giving John full control, because the one thing that John did, and you can go watch the interviews when he got cast, the first thing he did is he went to a comic book store and he walked in, and the guy told him, "You better not screw this up." And he walked him right over to the long boxes and got him a big old stack of the stuff that he needed to do for his homework assignment. So he is very well read on the character of the Punisher. He knows exactly what the character of the Punisher needs to be. So I'm very, very excited. But yeah, definitely pretty generic. They didn't go into too much detail, but it does look very good. I think it could be a very pleasant surprise from Disney.
Yeah, Santa says it gave him Extraction vibes, which is action vibe. I hope they do. I was arguing with Chat GPT today about the direction of Punisher. I was just like I'm just angry about, because the last thing I've seen him in is Born Again season 1, and he had one great moment in Born Again season 1, and that was the argument with Matt at the beginning of the season, where they got in the argument down in the basement there about what they should be doing, and that was good. The whole rest of it, where he spent the whole season all, in a tizzy about trademark infringement, did not really feel like the Punisher to me. He was like, "Oh, you can't wear my skull, it's my skull." That is Batman, and the Punisher is not Batman. You know what I'm saying? I swear to, and Tim can say, I spent the whole season waiting for Frank to say, "I'm not wearing hockey pants."
Yeah.
Since he didn't say that, they didn't salvage the storyline for me, because if he had said that, that would have been funny. But instead, he acted like he was Batman, even though he's the Punisher. The Punisher doesn't care who wears. He kills about killing mobsters. It's his only goal in life. What other people do while wearing skulls doesn't confront him. He's not really worried about it. So when you put a big monologue in his mouth, and John Bernthal,
it's like he wakes up, he wakes up and he's got the Steve Buscemi list. He's just like, okay, who are the 10 most terrible people in New York? All right, let's go kill them all right now. That's a whole different thing than what we get from a lot of other characters. And so I'm looking forward to it. I think this will be a good palate cleanser from this series.
Yeah. Let's go here. Thug Dog says, "Why is Daniel taking BB to the fight? Wouldn't that make Fisk mad? Because the previous leak he admitted to." But BB works for him too.
I don't know.
She gives the spin on the BB report, and like if they both work for Fisk,
it was so obviously her that was the leak, though, right? I mean, it was so obviously her. So.
But none of them have figured it out. That's the thing. None of them know that it's her.
That's the problem. That's the problem for how idiotic everybody is in this series. It's so obviously her. And so I don't know, man. The whole thing is just so weird. And I know that he's been dancing around it publicly, where like privately he'll go out with her and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know that that is a wise choice to put BB in that position, but I don't know.
We'll Daniel, just let me tell you as a friend, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
He's on the hook. He's on the hook. Yeah. The episode of How I Met Your Mother, great episode. Go watch it. Okay. It's just like when she says, "I just can't be with you right now." That's your hint, man. You're on the hook. Okay, you're on the hook. Just let it go, Daniel.
Yeah. Do you think do you guys think this Punisher special is a test for TV show, movie, for Punisher,
No.
or advertisement for Brand New Day? What do you think?
It's going to bleed into Brand New Day. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to bleed into Brand New Day, but I think it's going to be just a standalone project. I think this is all the Punisher we're going to get out of the MCU at this point. And the reason is because I just think that they're focused more on a different kind of story. The R-rated stories are very much, on a minimal level with Disney. And so I feel like this is all the Punisher that we're going to get, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, and don't listen to our Nightbot. This is indeed a live stream. Dan forgot to turn off
ignore the Nightbot.
Ignore the
Nightbot. Nightbot. We're really here. Good night, Nightbot.
Yes. So anyway,
yeah. but anyway, I got to learn how to turn that off.
I'll just delete
anyway, the thing about the Punisher is, and like I've said this last week, in 1993, he was the lead character in 7 titles, 7 books published in 1 month. 1 month, there were 7 Punisher books. Some of them were one-shots.
Yeah.
That's how popular he was. And the fact that Ant-Man has 3 movies and the Guardians of the Galaxy have 3 movies in this interconnected universe, and the Punisher has a somewhat disregarded Netflix show and a special coming up, nobody in 1993 would have believed you. But if last season taught you anything, and you need to take this away, the people at the top at Marvel and Disney do not like the Punisher. They don't like him. They don't care for the character. They like selling a bunch of Skull logo merchandise because they like the money, but they hate all the people who buy it. So to assuage their guilt, they put the Punisher in silly storylines that don't fit the character at all, where he gets mad at cops for wearing skulls as if he would care. They're not going to use the character much because they don't like him. I think John Bernthal likes the character, but I think Jeff Loeb liked the character, and that's why he was used extensively within those Netflix shows. But Kevin Feige, the brass at Disney, they don't like the character, and they don't like the people who do like the character. That's my take. I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong, Tim. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I mean, the introduction of the Punisher in the Netflix series was spectacular, and the second season of Daredevil is spectacular. And then to bleed in and have 2 seasons of his own show, the whole thing was very, very well done. I think that the storylines were never lacking, and I never reached the ridiculous level with the Punisher. So I was thrilled when they signed back on to have John Bernthal be the Punisher in the MCU, but they're just not utilizing him well. This special is going to be a step in the right direction. I think it's good that he had a lot of creative control. But and I'm glad that he's going to be in Brand New Day, because he does deserve to be in a Spider-Man project sooner or later. But I do think that, Disney, if there's one thing we've learned, Disney does not want the R-rated content to really be R-rated content. That's why we're getting kind of this quasi, it's like, Daredevil's violent, but we're also going to kind of make it goofy. You know what I mean? It's not going to be it's not going to be like this procedural and dark thing like we made it in the Netflix series. It's definitely different than everything else that's been on Disney Plus, but it's just too goofy to be Daredevil. And so that's kind of my question about what they're going to do with Punisher. Are they really going to make a Punisher show, or is it going to kind of be goofy? You know what I mean? And so they just don't like making the R-rated stuff, because R-rated is not what Disney specializes in. Just in case you don't know, you know what I mean? It's like asking General Mills to make filet mignon. It's it's two different things here. You know what I mean? So anyway,
I do think there is some hope with the creative control that Bernthal's been given, because it has been shown that if you can beat Kevin away with a big enough stick, you can make things that don't suck. Witness Deadpool and Wolverine, where Ryan Reynolds got complete creative control because he was that invested in Deadpool and people were invested in him as Deadpool, so he got to make the movie he wanted to make. Or James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you know, he managed to still wind up his story and his little pocket of the universe without getting sucked into the whole messaging nonsense that was going on with everything else. So if you can keep them away from what you're doing, you can accidentally make something good, you know, kind of like, you know, in the Star Wars universe, if they really don't care what you're doing and aren't paying attention to you, you can make Skeleton Crew. You know what I'm saying?
Or a Rogue One or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can accidentally let something good come out. Like, oh crap, wait a minute. You know, so maybe that will happen, but I think it would only be in one dose. I don't, again, it won't be delivering the type of content they want. These testimonial videos are lame. Is that the BB report, or which ones are those?
No.
Oh,
this
no,
is the stupid like witness. Yeah, like the people that escaped the thing. Yeah, that's dumb. And so basically that's what they're doing, right? They're trying to get all these people, make all these videos so they can have all this evidence against Fisk, is what it sounds like, so they can connect all the dots to Fisk. And like any of these people would actually be willing to put video evidence of a man that you know that has that much like control over things. I just don't know. The whole thing is silly. It's lame. I don't know. This is Matt being the lawyer without being the lawyer, and I just think it's kind of a silly thing. I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
It was the Victor Lay. It was the White Tiger's widow.
Yeah.
And all I thought when I saw her was like, okay, let's take 5 minutes to remind you just how monumentally stupid this show is. That's what it was. It's like, okay, let's remind you that the auntie busybody at the bodega got thrown into the dog kennel lockup with the hyper dangerous vigilantes, where they put the swordsman and even the Punisher before he escaped. Because of course the lady who touched someone's arm as he arrested a shoplifter needed exactly the same level of incarceration as the Punisher. she couldn't just get a ticket, you know. No. She need to be in the dog kennel next to the swordsman. This is the level of stupid that this show is, and so. And then we get the niece again, who isn't White Tiger yet, because I don't know, because they think they're clever. They think that we're going to be surprised when they make her White Tiger. She's wearing the amulet.
Yeah.
Just give her a suit, man. Your show is silly. Let's stop pretending that you're grounded.
And this is the thing, man. Like, this is the thing. They're insulting the comic book audience by trying to lead into the non-comic book audience. Like, the non-comic book audience is sitting there like, is she going to put the mask on? Oh, maybe she'll be the White Tiger. And all the comic book audience is like, we've seen this movie already, guys. She becomes the White Tiger. We know that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Santa wants to know if we enjoyed this week's episode. Santa, I did not. I have not enjoyed a single. No. I have enjoyed exactly one episode of Daredevil Born Again. It's the one in the bank. I'm always down for Die Hard in a thing, and it was Die Hard in a Bank starring Daredevil, and it worked for me. And that's the only episode that I have enjoyed watching. Did you enjoy this one, Tim?
No, but this reminds me, Dan. I just before we popped on, I saw a trailer for Jason Statham's new movie, and he is doing a new Die Hard on a boat. So let's check that one out. Anyway, but yeah, this episode was just completely absurd. It's the word that I've used over and over again. The believability of this whole thing with Fisk and the boxing, the believability of whether or not his wife would be able to survive this shard of glass in her temple, or the believability of whether or not all of these characters interacting the way that they're interacting. This is all just, it's all just noise right now to me. This is the most mailed in series that we've had in a long time. Like, I didn't like Wonder Man, but I don't think they mailed it in. I think they just tried something and it failed. This, I feel like after the cataclysmic failure that was season 1, where they basically had to reshoot and rewrite the entire thing, ask other characters and other people to come in, and had to rewrite the entire thing. I feel like this is kind of, stuck in that mode now, where they're just stuck in second gear. They can't get it to that next gear where people are just in, they're just waiting to see the next episode. I haven't been like that throughout the entire run of this show. I was like that through the Netflix series. Like, I was the guy that would watch the episodes until 2 a.m. on a work night and then just be like, oh, I can't not watch the next one. You know what I mean? Like that was me. And now I'm sitting here like, I don't think I would even make it through an episode before I just turn it off and be like, I'll just watch the rest of it tomorrow. So
yeah,
they have just totally failed. This is the most mailed in series that they've had in a long time. I don't know. I'm just not enjoying it. That's just me and Dan's opinion, but I just am not enjoying it.
I'm begging Tim to cover something else next week. I've been begging him since the week before. I'm just like, Tim, I don't want to watch. I can't watch this anymore. I mean, I enjoy eating Fiddle Faddle as much as the next guy, but
this we hate it. We reamed on this guy last season, but I'm going to tell you, this is the only positive thing about my Thursday nights this last month has been this right here.
Yeah.
So, way to go, Fiddle Faddle guy. You're the real champion.
Yeah, I miss the complexity of the social commentary of the Fiddle Faddle story. I really do. My pants are wet. So Charles Thugs getting Doc Hollidayed by Buck was weird. And it makes no sense that an ego like Fisk would leave him alive. I just don't understand that any of that interaction. I don't know why it's there. I don't either. I think it was one of those things where Charles was trying to flex, and then the show didn't want anybody more powerful than Fisk, so we had to have Buck do his thing where he kills the henchman, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, I'm leaving you alive because I'm the one that's the top dog of this show, and but you're really not. Okay, like you would have killed Charles, and then what would have happened? Then Val would have sent, a whole fortress of guys that would have killed you. It makes no sense here. Okay, and so I don't know. I'm that interaction. I'm with you, Dan. It just didn't make a lot of sense from top to bottom. The whole thing just didn't work for me. Do you guys think next week that maybe this show can finally pick up if Vanessa is finally dead? As season 2,
it won't pick up.
Yeah, go ahead.
It won't pick up. There's the one thing this show will never do is pick up. So it's not going to pick up. No way.
I thought about protesting getting the old Born Again team back after rewatching episode 2 of season 1 and being leagues ahead of what we've seen so far. Unfortunately, not happening. Yeah, I thought.
I don't know. I think the first team was probably worse, and I think the first team was probably worse. But there's no way to know. There's no way to know until we get that cut. But I will not watch that cut. So someone will have to tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how much worse the original version could have possibly been. You know what I'm saying? Like how much worse? I mean, maybe it was a little worse, but what we got is so bad that I just were they if it was worse than this, they had to have been making it bad on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost feel like this is bad on purpose. So for something to be worse, You have to try. You have to be literally endeavoring. Yeah, no Jessica Jones. I don't, from what I understand, there will be no Punisher. He was busy making his one shot and being in Brand New Day.
I don't think it makes sense not to have the Punisher, but I'm starting to think we're not going to get him. There's been no tease to him. I don't know. So what's going to happen? Jessica Jones is going to show up at the end and help save the day. I just don't. I don't know. This is just a weird series, man.
She's going to show up out of nowhere again. This show moves at a snail's pace. I mean, like, there's all of this, hushed dialogue and dramatic cinematography and slow shots, and they plant the seeds for nothing. Things just happen. The things that you think are being built towards don't happen, and then random crap that has had no, it hasn't been fleshed out at all. It just happened. Like, okay, now we're at a boxing match. Wow, how did that happen? Why? Like, my wife turned to me and said, "Why is there a boxing match?" We've watched the whole show. You feel like you missed it. It's the kind of show where every week you feel like you missed an episode. You're like, wait a minute.
That's right.
Thog Dog H9B says, ultimately, Dan has been right. This show thinks it's playing 4D chess. It's playing Candyland with a handicap. I love that.
They're smart. They think they're smart. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing is, I can see so many points in the writing room when those guys really thought they nailed it. Like, they just thought they thought they were so perfect. You know what I mean? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Like Bullseye is gonna kind of be a good guy, and then he's gonna kind of be a bad guy, and then he's gonna kind of be a good guy again. And they were all just like, oh, that's amazing. And then, looking at all these other characters, there were so many interesting potential characters here that they just did absolutely nothing with, because they gave us nothing but face value out of any of them, right? Like Buck. Yeah. Buck is actually a character that had a lot of potential, but because we had to prop up so many other nonsensical characters, his screen time was limited, his dialogue was limited, his character development was limited. The only thing we get from him is he walks around Fisk and he shoots people that are trouble. That's the only thing that we get from him right now. And that's silly. He's a much, much deeper character than that, right? He's had these deep philosophical conversations with characters maybe 2 or 3 times through the run of the show. But how come we haven't ever gotten anything deep from him? How come? Because we've been focused on Bullseye, because we've been focused on Heather, because we've been focused on Muse, because we've been focused on all these other characters, Daniel and BB and all the. Well, why? This is way too busy of a storyline. We didn't need anywhere near this much. All right. All we needed was maybe, Fisk, Daredevil, and then just a key group of maybe 2 or 3 around them, and then a main plot that pushed things from episode to episode. That's all we really needed. Instead, they gave us, roughly a dozen characters that we're supposed to care about, but we don't care about any of these people. And we were introduced to them very quickly. When you're introduced to people very quickly, do you have any emotional attachment to them? No. You know what I mean? And so do you care what happens to these people? No. And then the people that you're supposed to care about, do you care if Vanessa dies? No, nobody cares. They're making all the wrong decisions. They're pulling on all the wrong heartstrings. If you really want people to get emotionally invested in this series, you have to play on the emotions that this audience actually has. And they just aren't doing that right now. So it's very, very hard for me to get in, emotionally invested in this series right now, because they can't get me to get interested in what they've written. So it's hard.
did we see the Defenders leak? And do you think it will affect the show more negatively moving forward, having to shove other characters in it to place hype over it? I had no idea they were doing the. Did you know they were doing the Defenders again?
I didn't know that if they do the full Defenders thing. I think that's just a garbage cop out, and I hope that's not what they do. I'm already upset that they're bringing Kristen Ritter back because that was something that they could have just saved and not have to ruin with this series. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If they bring back Iron Fist, I'm telling you right now, folks, Tim is done. he is out.
I mean, I'm already done, but that would like, you know, that might get me to California to stand out there and picket, Dan. Like, you know, there are very, very few things that would get me on a plane to California to go picket, and that might be one of them. So yeah, the Prince of Flowers would do it.
So he said Wesley got no story, but enough screen time to make us feel his presence, even after he's been long past. Something Buck lacks. Yeah, people keep calling Buck the poor man's Wesley because, you know, Wesley had a definite presence in the Netflix series, you Absolutely. Know, and Buck does not. And they leaked season 3 of the Defenders on set, so they are making the Defenders. So that Tim, you could just hold out hope that Iron Fist isn't there. You could just hope that it's Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Dee Dee. I just what was that? Oh yeah, Buck. Okay, between Santa out here, help us out, and you help me out, Tim. I'm struggling to pay attention closely, and I know you are too. And Sanov seems to be paying better attention than both of us. So if we put all our heads together, I'm going to try to make sense of one of the plots that happened this episode that like I didn't really piece it together as it happened. The first officer for the ship that they've been searching for all season magically shows up on their doorstep, right? Like he's just there. They didn't find him. He found them, right? Right. They record his testimony. I didn't really listen to much of what he had to say because who cares? I don't know why anybody else would care. But when they were done, they put him in a car, right? With like some marshals or something. Is that right? Yes. And yet somehow Buck found out where that car was and where it was going. And like Kingpin had planned all along for Buck to know where that car was because they talked about it in coded language that they knew what he had to go do. And then he just drove off to wherever that was and plugged the first office. Like these are the events that happened, right? I missed a lot though, right? I mean, there's more to it than that. Like they told us how Buck knew where they were, and I didn't see it, right? Or did they not?
I don't think so. I mean, and if what you're getting at is that the plot just conveniently presented an opportunity for itself to move forward, then you are correct, sir.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So, if that's what you're asking, yes, absolutely. And when you know, like when I look at situations like that, I just go back to like, you know, like your old TGIF sitcoms where it's just like, oh, you know, there's this thing that Steve Urkel is going to trip over and it's going to cause the Winslow's house to catch on fire or something, right? And it's just like all he has to do is not knock this over, you know, and that's just what it is, right? Like it's like this is going to conveniently move the plot forward. So I feel like that's kind of what that's the level of writing that we're at with this show right now. Like, you know, it's just like things are just happening so that we can just assume that the audience will connect A to B and we can just move on down the road. And it's very silly. It's very silly.
Yeah. So Buck is magic, right? Buck is magic. He knows where the marshals were going to be because he's a magic man. Yeah, like Hart would tell us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
My other big question, and help me out, Santa, jump in here if you've got one for me. The Kingpin, as depicted in the Netflix series and throughout his whole history in the comic books, is a brilliant mastermind, a master planner. He knows the angles. He lays out the plans, right? He does play 4D chess. His master plan this week was to have a huge public event boxing match to use himself as bait to draw out Bullseye. And his great plan to not get killed by Bullseye was what exactly, as he stood in a brightly lit boxing ring against an assassin that could shoot you from like, I don't know how many yards, like an outrageous number of yards, or just kill you from across the room with a toothpick and a straw.
It's kind of silly because I don't know that was the reason that he did it. Okay. And I feel like, and that's the thing, Dan, like, because the writing is so terrible, I don't really know, but I don't think that is the reason that he did this. And, going back and looking at it, because he told Vanessa not to come, right?
Right.
And the reason he told Vanessa not to come is because if Bullseye shows up and she is there, she is going to be his target, right?
Right.
Not Fisk. She is going to be his target. And so when he looked over and saw her there because she wanted to support him, it was one of those that, I feel like at that moment is when he kind of knew, oh no, something's going to go wrong here. You know what I mean? So I don't know that the purpose was to draw out Bullseye, because if she wasn't there, I don't know that Bullseye comes out. And he told her not to come.
But he told his staff to leave the front door wide open. He said, we'll have to leave an entrance open. Like he was like we've secured the whole place. He's like, but you have to leave.
But again, you're seeing the problem with this writing, right? You're seeing the problem with this writing. Like this is exactly the problem with this writing, right? The problem with this writing is they've painted themselves into this corner now. All right. They've painted themselves into this corner where now it makes no sense for Bullseye to have been there and revealed himself unless she was there, which he told her not to be there. It makes no sense. So the whole thing, I don't know. The whole thing is ridiculous.
But Daredevil thought he was going to be there because he ran to stop him from going there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Don't trip over this thing, Steve. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't trip over this thing, Steve Urkel. It's a very, very convenient plot device that they've used there, because none of it made any sense as to why any of that would actually have happened. So, yeah.
So with that, I have to really just crystallize for just a minute what it is that makes me despise this show so very much, because I can enjoy outlandish, ridiculous, silly shows that in movies that don't have much internal logic. I went and saw Minesweeper the movie, folks, and I had a great time. I thought it was funny. The kids in the theater were yelling all the things. And
Minecraft, Dan. You said, don't be a boomer. Don't be a boomer. It's Minecraft, Dan.
Minecraft, yeah. Okay. So what did I say?
You said Minesweeper.
Minecraft. I play Minesweeper. So anyway, I went to the Minecraft movie and the kids yelled the things and I had a great time, and it's silly and ridiculous. The problem is this show is almost the exact same level of ridiculous and silly. It's totally absurd. Outlandish. You have a mayor. He's not like the president. He's not even the governor. You know what I'm saying? He's just the mayor of New York. That's all he is. and he could suspend trial by jury. He can have his own cop task force that this week raids a legal office without a warrant and flips off without a warrant. They just go digging through the files and flipping over
on
desks
the floor, and it's like, come on, like,
and then they literally tell the lawyer, we don't need a warrant. We have this statute. We have the mayor's special program that says we can just smack you around if we feel like it. and everybody just operates as if that is so. This is the level of ridiculous that this show is, that a mayor has that kind of power, that a free port means that you could ship metric tons of illegal weapons. Just all it means is you can move stuff without paying duties. That's what free ports are, real folks, but not like they are in this show. That's the level of ridiculousness that this show operates on, and yet they still have to give you the camera angles and the soft-spoken dialogue and the score. The score really kills me, Tim. Whenever the score comes in, I'm like, all of this
started. That started last season, right?
Yeah,
that started last season. Like, I think it was about the Muse episode when he saved the White Tiger girl. All right, it was the same thing, and it's just like when, and look, man. I don't remember the score moments in the Netflix series at all. Were there any? Like, I don't know.
It didn't have this score. The score is new. This is a creation.
But they didn't have anything that played off the introductory theme. Nothing, right?
No.
And so this it's like once an episode. It's like once an episode they get the score that comes in, and that's supposed to be like the big power moment. And I am not a fan of that either, Dan. I'm not a fan of that either. It's
go ahead.
Once a season, I wouldn't mind, but they do it once an episode, and it's overplayed now. It's overplayed. They've been doing it for, what are we in? Like
episode 4.
Episode 4 of season 2.
Yeah.
So we're far enough down the line now. I think we can say that it's kind of overplayed.
Yeah, and it's just prestige television cosplay on a show that is absolutely ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And so when you do all this prestige, when you try to play yourself off as the Sopranos or the first season of Westworld, and your storyline is this ridiculous, it just shines a glaring light on how ridiculous your show is. I mean, be lighthearted and campy if that's what you want to be, but stop with the dark lighting and the serious score, while the mayor twirls his mustache like a,
Exactly. Like they've gone way too goofy for me, but they haven't realized it. I think that's the biggest problem. They've gone very, very goofy, but they still think that they're Frank Miller serious, and they're not. They're not Frank Miller serious. It's like, guys, you just had a boxing match between Fisk and the heavyweight champion. You've really gone goofy. Like, you've completely and totally skipped over whatever middle ground was between serious and goofy. You've gone straight to goofy, and you don't even realize it. That's the problem. You've now got this serious tone in a goofy show, and it's just not working.
He was talking about there was just plot there to keep the show going. They just stuff in so much extra. And then Minesweeper.
Minesweeper.
Hey, dude, Minesweeper is a great way to spend a few hours sometimes. If you have ADHD like me, you can get your hyperfixation going. You can lose a day to Minesweeper. I do like lighting and cinematography, but I think they overdo it in this show with the forced blue light over Bullseye, it was more natural in the Netflix show. Yeah, they're trying to impart a deepness they haven't earned with the cinematography. I like lighting and I like hushed dialogue. I like the Netflix show. It was actual prestige television. It was a superhero show that was prestige television. This just thinks it is, you know? And so when they go to the
you know what this is, Dan? You know what this is? Back in the day in the Arrowverse stuff, like this is the Arrowverse. This is an Arrowverse show that thinks that it's a Netflix show. That's what this is.
Yeah.
And that the more I think about it, that's like exactly what it is. It's the WB DC Comics stuff. Like that's the tone that this show has. It's definitely got a goofier quality to it. It's definitely got a little bit more of a general feel to it than the typical niche that would be into this particular run. And so that's not what the initial Netflix series was. The Netflix series was not that. And that's what they've become. They think they're the Netflix series. They're not. They're more like the Arrowverse on the WB.
I swear I was thinking of Arrow as I watched this episode, especially like in the scenes where they're recording the testimonials and Daredevil is standing there in a brightly lit room in his costume amongst numerous people who know Matt Murdock very well. And yet he is fooling all of them by talking like this.
I know.
They don't know who he is.
I tell this story all the time, Dan, but for my son and I, probably 3 years ago, we went as Batman and Robin for Halloween. Okay. Yeah. And I went in the full Batman garb. Okay. Full Batman garb. He was Robin. It was adorable. Anyway, but I saw people that I had not seen in 20 years in my full Batman garb. And they were like, Tim, what's going on? Right? I mean, I still look like Tim in the full Batman garb and the whole cowl and everything. Right.
Yeah. So you got no idea it's me,
like,
right?
It's like, it's like, guys,
yeah.
So this is one of those things about superhero shows that really, really is kind of the willing suspension of disbelief, because you really don't get that from an actual superhero costume. It's why I preferred what they had in the MCU, where pretty much everybody except Spider-Man was well known as their identity. But Daredevil not on that level. So I'm with you. He would have been more careful than that for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, you can try to make it work with Daredevil with the idea that Daredevil is a ninja. He's a ninja by training. He fights a ninja clan, the Hand. He was trained to be a ninja. So no, his mask is not the best at hiding his identity. Nobody should be looking at him in a brightly lit room. They should only see glimpses of this man. Maybe in a dark alley from far away,
as he's beating up a guy and then leaving. That's the thing. He just beats up a guy, he leaves, and
he shouldn't just be sitting in the corner next to the sunny window, and they're all sitting there like, you know what? Daredevil seems to be awful close to Karen. They seem to be talking. Wasn't Karen dating Matt? It's pure WB. It is pure, and it's even like it's worse. It's not as good as Arrow season 1, because when Arrow started, he had a voice modulator to try to throw people off. They dropped it in later seasons, but at least they were making the effort to begin with Arrow. Now we're into this Daredevil where he just stands in the corner and goes, "Oh, okay, that's a good idea."
Yeah.
Granted, the person he talks to
his best Christian Bale, that's for sure.
Yeah. Granted, the girl he talks directly to is White Tiger's niece, which we've established last season is very, 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 very stupid, because she went into the subway system as a 12-year-old to hunt a serial killer, and she didn't bring even so much as a stick to hit him with when she found him. She didn't bring a phone to call for backup or a stick to poke at him. She was just like, I'm going to find the serial killer, and then I'll just tell him what for. What's that?
I'll just do stuff. It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm declaring citizens arrest. I'm like, citizens arrest. Citizens arrest.
I love the Andy Griffith Show. We should review that sometime, Dan. Wait, it's so much better than this show. It's so much better.
So much is. I just watched an episode over the weekend. It was so great.
I know, man. If you ever want to see how plot devices are meant to work and with real actors, go see how Don Knotts made something work every single week that was planted in the first scene. They would plant something in the first scene. Oh, Barney can't sing. And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, Barney wants to join the choir. And then it's like, oh, Barney wants to sing the solo in the choir. And it's just, this is how plot devices work, folks. Okay. You've got to give us something. You can't just be like, oh, well, Buck killed 2 guys and for reasons, okay. So anyway, but
you just can't be like 4 episodes in and go, one good deed, and everybody stops like, ooh.
They're like, wait a second, hold on, Andy Griffith Show. That's definitely I miss the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, this stuff like this makes you really just want to hang out in Mayberry for a while.
It really does. It really does. Yeah. Boy,
it was so much more tightly written than this show that thinks it's so smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So no, I don't see how this. Like you said, Tim, we don't care about any of these new characters, and after a season and a half of being handled this poorly, I no longer care about the Charlie Cox version of Daredevil or the Vincent D'Onofrio version of Kingpin. I just can't make myself care anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep, 1,000%. Like I'm done. This is why I never wanted Disney to get its hands on it to begin with. Like right here. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what we got. Since Born Again clearly looks like it's lacking courtroom scenes, with Matt, do you think courtroom scenes should be essential to a Daredevil TV? I think the fact that he's a lawyer and that he struggles with the ethics of being a vigilante and the illegality of it is a cornerstone to the character. I
think so too. Yeah.
And like he hasn't, the only lawyering we've got was the ridiculous White Tiger trial that was over. How many episodes did that last season? 3?
2 or 3.
Maybe?
Yeah.
2 or and that and he was still part of the McDuffie and Murdock, but he didn't work any other cases. Well, no, wait a minute. That's where we got our buddy. That's where we got the hero of the series.
No, we got that. We got that, but that was just a plea bargain. That wasn't that was just a plea bargain, though. That wasn't a
that didn't actually go to court.
Which, by the way, whatever happened to the girl that he plea bargained with, because she was interesting. She was more interesting than every other female in the show.
Yeah, she was even more interesting than the new action hero version of Karen. I would say, and we got a new addition to Karen's menagerie of wigs this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've established that not only is Deborah Ann Wool unrecognizable with a black bob, she's also unrecognizable with long red hair.
Hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, if you watch True Blood, is totally not true, because that's how you were introduced to Deborah Ann Wool.
That's
So
how Deborah Ann Woll looks. So,
yes, that's her actual hair color.
that's her actual
And
hair. So,
in spite of the fact that she had that red hair when I first saw her in the show True Blood, when she walked onto Daredevil with blonde hair, I was still able to be like, oh yeah, that's Deborah Ann Woll from that other show. You know,
oh yeah,
I was not totally thrown off by the blonde hair. It's like, oh, that's a completely different actress. I knew who that
like
was.
she looks so much different with clothes on and normal teeth. I don't know what's going on, but you know,
that was it. Yeah. So yeah, Santa, I don't know what they did with Karen. So far, I wouldn't be mad if they kill her off just to save her. Yeah, they're ruining her just one little bit at a time. So if they could just like, at least we have fond memories of Foggy.
Yeah.
You know, he has not been drugged through the mud. And last season, after Foggy was killed in episode 1, wasn't there a release immediately that Foggy was going to be in this season?
There was.
I remember that. What's that?
There was, and I believe it was like there was like a moment where people were like, are they even going to have a season 2? And then it came out, yeah, there's going to be a season 2 and Foggy's going to be in it. So I don't know, man. Like that was a rumor, but I have no idea if it's true. We'll see.
Yeah, we're 4 episodes in, and we haven't even hinted at the return of Foggy. But
yeah,
do we want the return of Foggy? Because, you know, we've got action hero Karen, you know, now kidnapping elite paramilitary police, and, you know, with a pegboard with the red yarn in the basement, like a conspiracy theorist. So, you know, do we want? Yeah, he says. Stand-up says he believes there's going to be flashback like Wesley's character. I would be shocked if they live like in the comics. Yeah, so he doesn't think Foggy will be back. He thinks it'll be flashbacks. So
that's probably a good guess. So yeah, that's probably a good guess.
As we have established, you can still ruin a character in a flashback. Because we got a whole prequel series that destroyed Yoda. So who knows what kind of horrible things they will make Foggy do in these flashbacks. So I don't know. Is there what is the ongoing plot thread? I mean, are we supposed to be invested in whether Vanessa lives or dies? What am I following right now, Tim? What is the ongoing plot that are we supposed to be worried about whether Fisk can get these guns moved? I don't know. Like,
I think the big thing that they're really trying to go for, and this is really important to Marvel, is that things kind of weave in between project to project. I think they've really got to try to set up the Kingpin as someone that has these deep, powerful connections, so that when they have Val come in and be the person that even has deeper and more powerful connections, that's really going to elevate her beyond the Kingpin and beyond anything that we've seen on a grounded show. So I feel like this is kind of the goal of this show. The goal of this show was to prop up Val. I'm going to call it right now. The goal of this show was to prop up Val, and that was the problem. The problem was that never should have been the goal of this show. The goal of this show should never have been, well, we've got to make Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character look a lot more powerful and a lot more connected than anybody else that we've introduced so far. So what do we got to do? We've got to prop up the Kingpin to a ridiculous and absurd level, and then we've got to show how much more powerful and connected she is than him. And they're starting to kind of get hints of that right now with Charles, but I don't think we've seen it yet. And but that's the whole thing. If we tear the Kingpin down, and in order to do that, what have we really gained? What have we really accomplished? All we've done is kind of emasculated one of the coolest characters in the comics that goes toe to toe with several of the most like quintessential Marvel properties. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. That's what I feel. I feel like the entire purpose of this show was that, and because the entire purpose of the show is that, we're not going to get anything that makes any sense. We're not going to get the resolution that we want out of this show because it's not even really about this show. That's the problem with Daredevil and the Netflix series. Daredevil was the only thing they cared about, right? That's not all that this show cares about. This is Kevin Feige trying to be 6 moves ahead, and he doesn't need to be. He needed to be in this show right here, and he wasn't.
Sanoff had the example of you can ruin somebody in a flashback, Walter White, and Better Call Saul.
Yeah, for sure.
And it says, do people speculate with the leaks that Luke Cage may run for mayor in season 3? Maybe. I guess there might be a comic storyline with Luke Cage as mayor.
Mayor for hire.
I'm done with the mayor, because here's the thing. As ridiculous as this show is, as ludicrous as all of the plot points are, we just had a boxing match, folks. This is over the top. This is the feeling you have is if you took a handful of scripts from Batman 66 and recast it with Christian Bale as Batman. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly that's the feel, you know, like and you put, Heath Ledger in for Cesar Romero playing the Joker, but he put him in a giant fish bowl or something, you know. Yeah. That is the feel that we've got here. And in spite of how ridiculous it is, there are people out there, and listen, I don't care what end of the political spectrum you are on. If you think that this show is capable of serious political commentary, go touch grass, my friend. This show is brain dead. It has a brain bleed. It is leaking, cerebral fluid out of both ears. So if you think this show is capable of making profound political statements, you have lost your mind. This show is not capable of making profound statements about anything, much less politics. It can't handle anything deep or important or weighty. So, if they go mayor with Luke Cage, they're just going to be trying to be weighty and political again. And dude, they have shown that they can't handle it. They are not fighting in that weight class.
And here's the thing. The thing about Daredevil is we've seen good Daredevil, right? And we've seen good Jessica Jones, and we've seen good Punisher. We've seen about half a good Luke Cage, right? Like the first half of season 1 was good. That was it, right? Season 2 was garbage. The second half of season 1 was garbage. And, and then all of Iron Fist was garbage. So, I'm really, really at the end of my rope here because I'm with you, Dan. I'm done with Charlie Cox. I'm done with Vincent D'Onofrio. I'm really, really upset that I know Christian Ritter's going to be in this. And I'm really, really upset that maybe I'm going to not like the Punisher special. So I don't want to just get these things ruined. The way to do these things justice is not just to keep them going. That's the problem, right? You don't do these things justice by keeping them going. Sometimes you just got to realize what you had was good, but it's time to move on to something else. And I hope that Disney learned its lesson here, because this is not what we needed to do these characters and these actors justice. And it's very frustrating as somebody who just loved the Netflix series. I just loved it, and it's a shame.
Sandoff was saying that apparently Luke Cage ran for mayor in a Daredevil comic. I was ranting
There's
in
a
my
lot
own
that's
head
happened in the comics, man. There's a lot that's happened in the comics. So yeah,
I was ranting in my head about this again today. From female Silver Surfer to, I don't know, Luke Cage is mayor, Kingpin is mayor. A lot of people want to defend every bad movie take by saying, well, it happened in the comics. Okay, a lot of things happen in the comics, folks. Just because it happened in the comics does not mean it is good.
Yeah.
A lot of stupid things. The Spider-Mobile existed in the comics. It was a dune buggy. Spider-Man had a dune buggy that stuck to walls in an issue of the comics. This is canon accurate. It really happened. One More Day happened in comics. The Clone Saga happened in comics. Azrael as Batman existed in the comics for I think that was almost a year that you had as Jean-Paul Vallée, Azrael. Most of you people have no idea who Azrael even is. You have no clue. And yet he was Batman for almost a whole year in the comics. So just telling me it happened in the comics doesn't mean not every story. They were published every month for a long time.
That's my litmus test. My litmus test for exactly how casual somebody is when they say, well, it happened in the comics. And the reason I know that they're casual is because the only reason those people typically know that it happened in the comics is because they either read it on the comments, or they Googled it in order to win the argument, right? Those are the only things that happened. And so I can tell who's casual and who's not, who's really a fan of these characters and who's not. Every character, look, Marvel has been around for decades, and every character has been retconned into tomorrow. You have so many retcons that you would not be able to recognize the characters that Stan and Jack came up with originally. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't an original idea there that stuck with a core audience, and that generation that you started reading the comics, where you picked them up and you started reading through the runs every issue. That doesn't mean that didn't happen for you. And so it's really, really important for you to, as a comic book fan, go back and say, when did I actually become invested in this character? And when did it make sense to me that these kind of things, that this kind of story started moving this direction? And that when we have those kind of conversations, I can have conversations about things that happened in the comics. The other thing is, we need to quit acting like we always agreed with everything that happened in the comics. I was furious about several things that happened in the comics. So don't come at me and say, well, it happened in the comics. I probably wasn't happy about it then either. So anyway, but Dan and I, as real comic book fans, just don't come at us with that. Okay.
That's another, okay. It happened in the comics isn't a great defense. It doesn't work. But also, I've heard a lot of people attacking this season of Daredevil. They're attacking Born Again by saying that, they've got away from the grounded grittiness of the Netflix show, and now they're using comic book logic and comic book plots. Frank Miller wouldn't wipe his butt with these scripts, folks. Absolutely. That is an insult to the comics to say that they're using comic book logic, So
absolutely.
I just want to say that. There we go. I see here, Santa. We don't even think it's unfortunate that they have to reboot all the old actors.
No, I wanted them all rebooted a long time ago. You know what I mean? I wanted them all rebooted a long time ago. So
yeah, that's it. I don't want them to introduce any more characters that I really like with casting that I like, because the reboot can't come fast enough. So any new good version of a character is something that I'm going to regret being destroyed by the reboot. You know, so I wish they would just hold off and save things for after. He would say that making Sam Wilson Captain America MCU was a bad idea. Yeah, it was a bad idea.
It's the perfect example of the tail wagging the dog, where they did it in the comics so that they could do it in the MCU. And that's when Marvel owned the comics at that. I mean, Disney owned the comics at that time when they introduced that. It was a terrible idea, and they introduced it so that they could do it in the movie. And it was a terrible idea. It was terrible. So yeah, I didn't like it then, and don't like it now.
And here's the hold on,
and ignore
the Nightbot. The difference between a legacy version of a character in the comics and in the movies. In the comics, when John Paul Valley becomes Batman, and then Dick Grayson becomes Batman, or when Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes becomes Captain America, the reason they do it is because sales are lagging and people are forgetting why they love Bruce Wayne or why they love Steve Rogers, right? So they rub your nose in the other version of the character for about 6 months to a year until the public is demanding their old Batman or their old Captain America back, and then they give it to you to much bigger sales than they had before they replaced him. That's the whole point. But when you're in a movie series or like, you're doing it because the actor is stepping away, and now you expect us to permanently accept the idea of Sam Wilson as Captain America. When you're reading a comic, you're just gritting your teeth until they hit the reset button and give you Steve Rogers back. Whereas in TV and movies, you know that's not happening.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So it just doesn't work. It's not, I don't enjoy it in the comics, but I understand why they do it, just to revitalize sales.
Yeah, it's just like the multiversal stuff. I understand why they do it in the comics. It doesn't necessarily lend itself to a reasonable explanation in a linear story, but they introduce it in the cinematic universes for the same reason that you're talking about, Dan. And then all of a sudden we have to accept it for the same reasons that we do in the comics, when the continuities are completely different and the realities are completely different. And that's exactly, and the reasoning is completely different. So I'm with you 1,000% on that. I think that's one of the reasons, you know, it's like, why did a painter paint a painting instead of writing the painting, right? It's because a different medium requires a different canvas, right? Like, that's how it works. And I feel like when you try to do everything that's in the comics in cinema, you're gonna completely and totally mess it up, because it's not meant to be done that way. So yeah, it's a big philosophical discussion that we could go on for way too long, but in essence, don't come at us with that. Okay. It happened in the comics. Yeah, we know. Okay.
Yeah. And we are not feeling sad about the reboot. We can't wait.
We want a reboot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan and I are on record as wanting a reboot no less than 3-4 years ago, Dan. 3-4 years ago, we wanted a reboot.
I wanted a reboot. I kind of liked No Way Home. Or no, not even No Way Home. Far From Home. I thought Far From Home was a nice coda to the Infinity Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to Endgame. The Endgame came and you had kind of a coda of Spider-Man feeling sad about Tony Stark's passing, and that could have just been the end. And in the comics, continuity and serialization, and we got a new issue coming out every month, is of huge importance. So when it's time for a reboot, you need a huge multiversal, cosmic reset storyline to explain your reset. You know what I'm saying? There's a big fight. There's some things going on, and you get, DC with the 0 hour or the parallax, and you get Marvel with the Secret Wars and the Infinity. You get your big reset storyline that resets everything. You get your Crisis on Infinite Earths moment. In cinema, you don't need that. You need to just wrap up your story, wait 3 or 4 years, and start again, as if that other stuff never happened.
The biggest problem, and this is something that I think that they're going to have to look at moving forward. The biggest problem is Kevin Feige feels like if he introduced anybody late in that run that has any kind of play or any kind of opportunity for something bigger, that they have to be a part of the universe moving forward, which is why he's tried to stick with a lot of these characters that he introduced late in the run. Captain Marvel was introduced late in the run, for example, and for whatever reason, he feels like he has to have that character be a pivotal part of the universe, right? Makes no sense, but that's what he feels like. And because of that, he's just like, well, it's not going to be fair to her to just go ahead and cancel the universe. She just had the one project. Well, tough cookies. And that's how it works, man. You know what I mean? That's how it works. Oh, well, we only had one standalone Spider-Man project by the time the Infinity Saga wrapped up. Okay, who cares? Are you seriously going to tell me people won't get hyped for the next one? They're going to get hyped for the next one, man. It doesn't matter, right? And I think that's kind of the problem that I have with it, man. I've always in cinema, the schedule is never going to be perfect. And that's kind of the problem. You just need to lay it out there at the beginning. Look, if you come toward the end of this continuity, it's just not going to be your time to shine. All right. This is going to be something that'll probably, you can say you were part of the universe and you'll get a nice paycheck for it. But no, we're not going to give you 3 standalone projects. You're at the end of the continuity and that's it. So I think that if there's one really, really big mistake that Kevin Feige made that has bled into keeping this universe going for way too long, that's the mistake.
If Kevin Feige was running Warner Brothers in 2005, he would have made Christopher Nolan make a 3-hour movie explaining why George Clooney wasn't Batman anymore, instead of giving us Batman Begins.
Well, yeah. And he would have, I mean, honestly, like, let's just go back and pretend that Kevin Feige started Warner Brothers right back then with Batman Begins, right? And say, let's just say they would have had any level of normal success that they would have had with Batman, and then introducing Superman and Wonder Woman and all the, just like he did with the Avengers. Let's just pretend for a second that all that happened. Well, then we would have got to a point where we would have gotten to the point now where, he would have tried to merge everything with the CW universe, and all of that would have come together. It would have been way too convoluted. It wouldn't have made any sense. And instead of letting it go, he would have said, okay, well, let's just come up with a storyline that goes right over top of that and keep all of those characters and just pretend that they all exist in the same universe. It really is hard, right? It really is hard to keep this going as long as you can in a cinematic universe. In a comic book, it works a lot better. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know people don't want to hear, in a comic book, it works a lot better because the audience is different, and they're the way that they can just cast things off and say, okay, well, give me my new Batman or give me my new Superman or whatever. That doesn't work in cinema. Okay. And the contracts don't work in cinema. You're working with actual actors, not just a guy drawing a face. And so it becomes different, and people need to understand that it's different. And, I don't know. It's why I'm not a fan of the multiverse. Just give me a linear story. And when you're done with your story, wait several years and reboot, just like Dan said.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't need Sean Connery making a cameo appearance in the Daniel Craig or even Pierce Brosnan Bond movies to hand off the torch of being James Bond.
Yeah,
You know?
or the stupid Star Trek. What was that thing that JJ did in Star Trek where he had the
he had Leonard Nimoy come over.
He had Leonard Nimoy come in and yeah, with Zachary Quinto, and they met each other, and it was stupid. It's really dumb, guys. It's really dumb.
Yeah. This could just be a new version. We started over. That was really good. But that guy got old, and the character still is valuable. So we got a new guy.
We just started over. Okay.
Yeah. Just starting over. That's all this is. It's not the same anything.
For sure.
So, yeah. And that's what they did. Unfortunately, this one is kind of important. It's where it's time for that to happen with Daredevil. Even if Kevin Feige keeps trying to squeeze more juice out of this MCU thing, he is bruised this version of Daredevil, I think, beyond repair.
I think so too. Too.
I don't know. This show tempers my enthusiasm for the new Spider-Man movie, which of course I didn't have much enthusiasm until I watched the trailer, and I liked the trailer. But it's supposed to be street level, and if this is the best that Kevin Feige can do with street level Marvel, it doesn't make me real excited for Brand New Day, so that's what was done well was done on Netflix, and that was done by Jeff Loeb. So I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Dan. I think this one, this Spider-Man, we'll just have to wait and see. See what the Punisher special is like and see how this show wraps up. I think all of it's going to be important tie-ins, unfortunately. I think it'll be one of those things you're going to have to watch it all in order to understand it all. So, but I do think that you're right. I think that it's just time, and this is the perfect example of why I think you just let sleeping dogs lie. You don't jump in and try to resurrect a bad thing with a good thing. You just don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
If you've got a version of Aquaman that is not playing very well, and everybody else in that universe is playing well, the way to fix that is not to bring in a previously successful Aquaman and have something happen. That's not what works. And that's what Kevin Feige tried to do here. The MCU was clearly in trouble. He said, I'm going to take all this successful Daredevil stuff and just shove it in the middle of the MCU, and then that'll fix it. It had the opposite effect, right? Instead, what you did is you let your stupid MCU affect a good Daredevil character. And that's awful. So
I don't even... What is Daredevil trying to accomplish this season, Tim? I know what Fisk is trying to do.
I'm serious when I said that. I think that the entire purpose of this season is to build up how powerful Val is. I think anything grounded level, that's what it's going to be all about.
But what is Matt like the character in the show? Matt, what is he? What is his end game? What is he doing? I don't even really understand.
I think he's got this. Daredevil is always tossed between justice and vengeance, and where is that line and what he can do about it. And I feel like Fisk is being the mayor and knowing that he is Daredevil makes for an interesting dynamic, and there were so many interesting stories they could have done. They just chose the least interesting one, and Matt is not doing anything that makes sense or is natural. And I think that's the problem. I can't make sense of what Matt is doing because he's doing things that make no sense. Yes, he wants justice, but does he really want justice this way? No, Matt wouldn't have wanted justice this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Matt as a lawyer, it's not that hard to go find somebody and say, hey, press charges against this guy. He's doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he would have found somebody at some jurisdiction somewhere that would have listened to him as a lawyer and come in and stopped the Kingpin from doing what he was doing. You don't have to do all this vigilante, ridiculous, mask wearing nonsense in order to fix it. It's not that hard. And so the fact that he's that stupid of a lawyer is what makes this show really bad right now. I can't get into it more than that because I know we've been going for a couple hours, but that's just how it is. He's not a very smart lawyer if this is what he's doing, you know.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll go next week. We'll see if Vanessa's dead. We'll see if Matt has a plan or try to figure out what it is he's trying to accomplish. We'll see if Fisk moves some guns for Mr. Charles. You know, there's a lot of things that we really don't care if they happen or not, but we'll see anyway. And
we will have Fiddle Faddle.
And we will have see, there's the bright. Oh, we got one more.
MCU. Yep. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah. The White Tiger and Muse here. Yeah, because of course we know that Mother Coral will be Muse soon because she's in more episodes. She will be the good Muse. She will be the Muse that is actually probably powerful and an actual threat, as opposed to the one last season that showed up twice and got his butt kicked in short order both times. So rumors say a female Daredevil could be introduced this season. Oh, God.
Oh, I wonder who that's going to be. Hold on. Oh. They think they're so smart, Dan. I wonder who that would be.
Maybe it's the former paralegal investigative reporter that all of a sudden knows Kung Fu, as if she's, Neo.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's a Krav Maga or something right now, isn't she? She's great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is why I don't, and it's probably true, Tim. This is why we don't like the rumors. We get all mad early.
Yeah, for sure.
But on that note, the only thing we could say to that, Tim, is OH.
IO, baby.